Hi betting experts, on Saturday February the 8th we've got a traditional ITV 7 on Saturday, really good high class racing from Newbury and Warwick. The ground, well, it's soft, good to soft in places at both tracks. Newbury have put covers down near the jumps, trying to protect from the overnight frost that's forecast. I suspect Warwick may do the same. Hopefully daytime temperatures will rise. It both get the go ahead. It's really interesting racing. We start off with our betting expert daily nap, sponsored by Priced Up Bet. This goes in the 3:35 at Newbury. It's a 2-mile handicap hurdle, a really valuable and hotly contested race, and I think it's tailor-made for Secret Squirrel to win again for Hughie Morrison. Now, in his early days over hurdles, they ran him round Taunton, just trying to teach him to settle and jump. He was a very free-going horse, but he's much more settled now, and I think this big field with a bit of cover will see him in a different light. And he fell on his one start back, but he made amends, landing hefty market confidence at Windsor last time out. And watch that run back, he still did plenty wrong round a sharp track, turning track. I don't think it particularly suited him. He looked unbalanced on several occasions. He did plenty mid-race and he sustained his run to see things out after the last. I was really taken with it. I think he'll settle better here under Sean Bowen in this big field, and I think Newbury, big flat galloping track, will suit him a lot better. I think he's still well ahead of the game. He could make up into a graded listed performer as he gets more experience of jumping. He's around about 5 or 6 to 1. I think it's a more than fair price. Our betting expert value angle selection, sponsored by Priced Up Bet, goes in the 3:15 at Warwick. It's a 2-mile 4 veterans handicap chase, and I think I've found one here at a big price, Straw Fan Jack from the Sheila Lewis yard. Now, this one, perfectly capable handicapper, obviously not the force of old, but that's a comment that applies to all of these veterans. His handicap mark reflects that. I've watched his 2 runs back this season when he's been big prices in very hot company. I think he's run a lot better than it looks on each occasion, probably building himself up to full fitness while his mark eases a few pounds. Last time out at Doncaster, he made a very bad early blunder at the second and was soon on the back foot, but he actually got into things briefly about a mile out and then got tired. He didn't run that badly at all, and round Warwick he could revert to front running, which is what he was doing when he was winning his races from higher marks in the past. This is a good track to be banged off in front, and if he can get into a rhythm jumping well, I think he'll take a bit of catching. He's a big price against some pretty opposable rivals. He's been overlooked, which is often the case with runners from smaller yards, particularly on Saturdays. Obviously he's got plenty to prove. He's been well beaten twice this season. He might just be a gone horse, but he's undeniably well treated, and I think he's definitely worth an interest at the prices. The remaining 5 races on ITV on Saturday, we'll do them in time order, starting at Newbury in the 150, a very competitive 3-mile handicap hurdle. Well, I've really liked Haiti Couleur's over fences this season. He's a relentless galloper, and I think back over hurdles, although he's got a welter burden to lump, he has got Sean Bowen in the saddle. I suspect he'll get a positive ride, and the long galloping nature of Newbury should suit him. He's a relentless grinder, a stayer rather than a quickener, and I think he could have these strung out from an early stage if he's gunned from the tape. Over to Warwick for the Kingmaker at 2:05, a 2-mile grade 2. Well, this looks at the mercy of Dan Skelton's Lodis Sud, who's really impressed with his jumping in all 3 starts over fences so far this winter. He's up against some inferior rivals here. I think he'll land the odds before going on to Cheltenham in March. Over to Newbury for the 2:25, the Denman chase over 2-mile 7, a grade 2. Well, I much prefer DJLo here, who comes from a yard Venetia Williams, going really well. 4 winners in the last fortnight at a 22% strike rate, and I thought this one will love these conditions at Newbury. Got a bit tired last time out on the really soft ground at Windsor, paying for chasing down the impressive Protectorate, who had the race won a mile out. DeJalo was the only one who came out the pack and then weakened late on. This trip perhaps will put people off. 2-mile 7, but I think on better ground, that's the key. He's liable to get a patient ride from Charlie Deutsch. I think he's got a bit more upside. He's got a good strike rate, 4 from 10 over fences so far, and I think his main rival, Brave Man's Game, who's supposed to be working very well again at home, they're quite confident, the Nichols team, but I think he's got plenty to prove. He does look on the downgrade, whereas DeJalo is still going forwards. Over to Warwick for the 2:40, a listed mare's hurdle over 2-mile 5. Well, You Wear It Well has been really disappointing racing over fences. I took a chance with the last time out of Windsor and she never really went a yard, run off her feet from an early stage. I just don't think she jumps fences quickly enough and she keeps losing her place and getting outpaced. But back over hurdles with a new jockey up, Jonathan Burke, and I'm hoping he'll be positive from the tape. They used to ride her forwards over hurdles in the past, and if they re-employ those tactics round Warwick, always a good plan of attack, I think she could take plenty of passing if able to dominate this small but select field of classy mares. Finally, back to Newbury for the game Spirit at 3 o'clock. Well, a very long odds on favourite Sir Gino here. Henderson's talked about him in the same way he's talked about Altior and Sprinter Sacra since he started schooling over fences at home. He's supposed to be absolutely exceptional. He certainly looked it when winning at Kempton over Christmas, albeit against a Ballyburn who is well below par, but that form suddenly looks a lot better since Ballyburn landed the odds at the Dublin Racing Festival last week. This looks a fairly simple task against jaded and exposed rivals. A clean round of jumping. I suspect he'll land the odds on the bridle before heading to Cheltenham in March. Best of luck with all 7 ITV races on Saturday, betting experts, and please do check out our sponsor Priced Up Bet, who bet extremely competitive on these Saturday races.